Thank you, folks. Welcome. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Mike Kessler. I'm one of the divisional CIOs and the president of BNY Mellon, Pennsylvania. I'm joined up here by Eric Bauner. You can't hear. I can't get much closer. This is going to be dangerous. All right, I'm joined up here by Eric Bauner. Eric's an executive in our global client management area and also the chairman of BNY Mellon, Pennsylvania. You know, Eric and I usually, being the chairman and the president, divide and conquer on a lot of the community events, and he covers some and I cover others. When it comes to UpPrize, we actually fight each other with who gets to be more engaged in this program, because we both just adore what goes on here, and we admire the participants every year. It's very inspirational, and so when we kick this off, we always want to be involved from the very beginning. An example is I was supposed to be at Google in New York at their innovation center all day, and instead of doing that, this was more important to me, so I stayed in Pittsburgh so that I could be here tonight and with Eric to kick this off. So let me ask, show of hands, for how many people is this your first UpPrize event?
All right, I like it.
All right, I'm just going to, for the new folks and just the others, just a little bit of a reminder. You know, UpPrize is a social innovation contest with money awarded at the end, and it really focuses on leveraging ingenuity, creativity, innovation, and technology to address a social issue, a social problem. You know, that's my view of a very brief comment that explains UpPrize. You know, this is our 6th cycle. We took a break during COVID and restarted last year. And just a reminder, when we pay out the money at the end of the 6th cycle, the BNY Mellon Foundation will have awarded over $3 million in total since beginning in 2015. So a round of applause for the foundation. And I just have sort of 3 items to talk about, change and improvements that have taken place and will continue to take place. You know, last year the focus was on racial equity and economic justice. That focus will continue this year, and we will add on a focus on sustainability. And that will be the focus of the companies that bring their ideas forward. But I also want to talk about what I observed last year. We had a huge uplift in the overall programming around UpPrize. Events like the kickoff, the training, the coaching, we really had an uplift in the diversity, equity, and inclusion around the overall program, and it was so apparent last year, and I'm sure we'll build on that this year. And again, I want to applaud Innovation Works and Andrea Stanford for the progress we've made around the programming this and diversity. So a round of applause for them. And the last change on the lighter note, you know, we've hosted many of these events at BNY Mellon, and we struggle. We struggle with, should we use the 12th floor? Should we use the 3rd floor client center? And we're back on the 12th floor, but just so you know what changed this year. We always struggle because we open the bar at the beginning and allow people to go. And then we have to drag people. Usually Andrea has to get her loud voice out and say, please sit down. So this year, a different approach. We're using our backyard on the 12th floor. And we hid the alcohol, and it's guarded with some armed guards. You weren't allowed to have any alcohol. You have to sit through the program first, and then you can enjoy the alcohol, the appetizers, and the networking. But just a real quick comment on the agenda. I'm going to turn it over to Eric with some welcoming comments. Then we will introduce our partners from Innovation Works, and there'll be a panel Q&A hosted by Andrea, which include Innovation Works and BNY Mellon. After the Q&A, Andrea will wrap up, and she'll release the guards, and you'll be able to go have a drink. So with that, I will ask Eric to join me in some comments.
Get very close.
I'm going to get close. I'm going to be loud. Thank you, Mike, and overall, thanks all for joining us here. Mike kind of touched on a lot of what we wanted to talk about today, so I just want to do one or two things. And it's really kind of why do we do this? And to me, there's three reasons why. Number one, it's impactful. It makes a difference. We have the luxury of BNY Mellon having a foundation dedicated solely for the benefit of Southwestern Pennsylvania. And we have a bunch of creative minds, Kendra and Dean, two of the most creative, kind of helping us figure out how to do things that make the biggest impact. And guess what? As Mike said, UpPrize is one of those. You can look around the room, and I see past winners here who are doing things that are making this place a better place to live, a better place to work, and helping us recruit the type of people and talent to Pittsburgh that we need to continue to grow. So number one is impactful. Number two, maybe tied to Mike's comment about when we open up the bar, it's fun, right? This is an awesome gathering of people. Please take some time, get out, meet someone new tonight, engage with someone else, participate in the sessions, help volunteer, encourage more people to come to the next event. This is a lot of fun, and I'm so happy that we're kicking it off again this year. And then number three, this to me speaks to who BNY Mellon is when we are at our best. We talk a lot about two words, trust and innovation, okay? And the tie between those two. Our clients trust us, right? We're the largest custodian in the world. We custodian over $44 trillion of assets. Just for perspective, that's roughly 1 out of every 5 investable dollars kind of rotates through this building and other main locations around the world. We settle $10 trillion of securities every day. We do 3 trillion payments. I can go on and on and on. Our clients trust us to do that, okay? Now, key to that is this concept of resiliency. They trust that we're going to be resilient. And you can go back to when we went in the beginning of the pandemic. We said 95% of our people within 1 week started to work from home. We continue to do all of those things, those big gaudy numbers, without a blip, okay? You know, a year ago, a little bit earlier at this time, Russia marched across the border into Ukraine. Sanctions skyrocketed, a lot of activities. We continued to operate. We were resilient. We had systems to do that. I don't know if you guys have been watching the news a little bit. There's a little bit of a banking turmoil going on, not crisis, turmoil. We've continued to grow. We are gathering strength from that activity. But there's also an angle about resilience of communities. And that, to me, is mission critical to who BNY Mellon is, certainly in Pittsburgh for the last 154 years, but also in New York and elsewhere for the past close to 240 years. Like, resilient communities are sustainable, resilient communities are inclusive, resilient communities give an opportunity for everyone to be involved and included. And to me, you marry that to that kind of trust, that resiliency piece with innovation, right? And that's where everyone here comes in, right? The bright ideas, encouraging people to go out and do something big, because starting a company, starting an organization is the hardest thing to do in business, right? From scratch, you're jumping out there, you're doing it. So thank you all for doing it. Thank all for the supporters of the people here helping people encouraged to do that, and we look forward to being a part of this through the next, how many months? 6 months? 9 months? 6 months, wow. But none of this would happen if not for the partnership that we have with Innovation Works. And Innovation Works, what they do for our region to put us on the map in the technology space and help us do this, this is powered by Innovation Works, and it's a lot more than that. It's a true partnership. So with that, I'm happy to pass it over and introduce Innovation Works CEO, Ben.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you, Eric, for that very generous introduction. And thank you, BNY Mellon, for giving IW the opportunity to administer UpPrize. Like Eric noted, impactful and fun, and we certainly echo those two sentiments. Please allow me to introduce myself, Ben Raju, President and CEO of Innovation Works. Innovation Works is one of the most active early-stage investors in the country, the most active here in the region. we provide support faculties and capital to early stage companies through our nationally ranked accelerator programs, through our robust seed fund, and through our growth fund, which is Riverfront Ventures. IW is part of the Ben Franklin Technology Partners Network, and the network's overarching mandate is to create jobs and foster tech-based economic development, and our specific mandate is to do that here in Southwestern Pennsylvania. So this is near and dear to us. This mission is near and dear to us, and as many of you know, this is the 6th year IW and BNY have collaborated on the UpPrize competition, and over the years, we have seen passionate, determined founders attempting to address some of society's most complex and challenging problems, from med devices that support the ailing, platforms that provide resources to struggling communities, to products and services that help to address societal inequities. To tell you a little bit more about this year's UpPrize focus of racial equity, economic justice, and sustainability, please join me in welcoming my team member and colleague, Jeff McDaniels. I did it.
Thanks, Ben. I am Jeff McDaniel. I'm a portfolio executive at Innovation Works, where I'm fortunate to get to work with some of the region's most innovative, most creative, and wonderful human beings that are changing the way we live, changing the way the rest of the world lives as well. And I've been involved since for the last 6 years in this program, a little bit more each year, and I'm really excited to be here today and throughout this program. The focus areas of this year's UpPrize rest on 3 pillars, as you have heard: racial equity, economic justice, and sustainability. That third pillar is one that is near and dear to my heart because it actually cross-cuts those other 2 pillars quite well. And for us to be successful, whether it's a for-profit startup company or a not-for-profit that's trying to make an impact, you should have some of those pillars in mind as you are going through trying to solve some of the world's problems with your solutions. These pillars, though, are designed to be broad. They encompass broad things. So if you are an entrepreneur here in the room and you think you've got this tiny little idea, it's still going to fit inside one, if not more, of those pillars. Don't be afraid to ask the question. There's no wrong answer, okay? If you don't ask the question, we can't help you create the solution. So all answers are good answers when it comes to tackling difficult issues of racial equity, economic justice, and sustainability. And just in that last category alone, we have seen in recent years several innovations in this region impacting energy conservation, smart buildings, new energy forms and technologies, biodegradable packaging, and many other examples. An entrepreneur, founding team, organization, or individual is welcome to apply to or for the UpPrize funding and for educational programming. So for more specifics about how the program works, my colleague Joyce Howard will provide you that deeper dive.
Thank you, Jeff, and good evening, everyone. I'm always happy to share all the details about the competition and how we support entrepreneurs for the next 6 months. This year, UpPrize will focus on technologies that promote the 3 pillars we discussed: racial equity, economic justice, and sustainability, while programmatically fostering stronger diversity, equity, and inclusion among the entrepreneurs and businesses within Southwestern Pennsylvania's tech ecosystem. The renewed focus will address critical issues that strain our communities and obstruct the holistic growth of the Pittsburgh region, encourage more specific solutions that address a particular problem, and enable the right investors and potential customers to be brought to the table, creating better opportunities for startups to find capital and secure pilot engagements and sales. Applicants will compete for $300,000 of prize money. $75,000 will be awarded in each category: racial equity, economic justice, and sustainability. The grand prize winner will be awarded an additional $75,000. Whether your product or service is an idea or you've already successfully launched, you are welcomed and encouraged to apply and compete. Some eligibility requirements. You must be 18 years or older. The submitting nonprofit business or individual must be based in one of these counties in Pennsylvania: Allegheny, Armstrong, Beaver, Butler, Fayette, Greene, Indiana, Lawrence, Washington, or Westmoreland. The impact of that startup must be in one of those counties. You must not have received any funding in previous UpPrize cycles. You must ensure that your participation does not violate any employee policies or procedures or other third-party rights or obligations. And lastly, the applicant and immediate family members must not be employed or affiliated with BNY Mellon, IW, or any of our parent or affiliate companies. Our timeline. The application's open this evening. So we're excited to use the F6S platform, which will specifically assist entrepreneurs in navigating an application process and reach out to us with any questions or concerns that they may have. All of that information will be found at UpPrize.org. We also are aware that everyone can't join us this evening, so we have a commitment to outreach in outer counties as well. So we will be presenting and encouraging participation at the Corner at Penn State New Kensington next week, as well as the Ignite Business Incubator in Washington and Jefferson County in Washington and Jefferson College. So we've listened to feedback over the years from past participants and are offering support to anyone interested in participating in the competition. We will continue to provide educational offerings during the middle of the application process through our UpPrize Bootcamp. This will ensure that all applicants benefit from sessions designed to help companies prepare for growth, pitch to investors, and develop an inclusive workplace. These sessions will be led by a diverse group of startup experts and mentors during the application cycle at no cost to the participants. You can attend as many sessions as you'd like. Even if you end up deciding not to apply, we encourage you to join us. Participation in the boot camp is not a requirement to apply either. However, many of last year's semifinalists did attend the boot camps regularly and credit their ability to move forward in the competition with the insight gained from the experts at these sessions. So this year's boot camp will be a 2-day intensive on June 8th and 9th, and will cover topics such as how to run a social enterprise, startup recipes, lean startup methodology, customer discovery, financial sustainability, and marketing 101. Throughout the competition, you can schedule virtual office hours with myself and my team at IW, and we welcome as many questions along the way. The applications are due July 6th at 11:59 p.m. So down to the deadline, down to the wire. On July 20th, we will highlight the accomplishment and creative ideas of our applicants and entrepreneurs in the tech ecosystem and announce the semifinalists during our Good Vibes Festival at Nova Place. On October 19th, we will celebrate the finalists, hear their pitches, and announce the winners during our final showcase. There are so many creative, innovative entrepreneurs in our communities, and we want as many people to have access to this experience as possible. So please share this on LinkedIn, Facebook, all of your accounts. All the likes, shares, and tweets are appreciated. And thank you. We are open for questions.
All right, good evening, everyone. That was like 3 people. Eva, thank you for saying good evening to me. One more time, good evening, everyone. That's better. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Stanford. I'm the regional manager of our Pittsburgh site. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to see this audience of so many community members, UpPrize alums, finalists. It's a family. It feels very much communal and much like a reunion. So it's so good to see all of you here tonight. And I realize that I have the role of asking questions, but I'm like in that middle between the drinks and the food. So I want to make sure we wrap this up really quickly to make sure that we can fellowship and have a good time and connect with one another. You heard a lot of good content from just the aspects of this year's challenge, the focus areas, the evolution of the categories in which we're hoping that we hear from the community about technological innovation. And we're so excited that we have so many entrepreneurs, nonprofits, for-profits, and individuals in the room who are really excited to harness their ideas and bring their ideas to life. So that's great. You heard some key dates. I'll just reiterate them. You heard Joyce mention July 6th is the deadline with alacrity, people. So with July 6th is the deadline, right? We have July 20th as the semifinalist announcement and reveal, and then also the celebration on October 18th for that final showcase, which is a fantastic celebration, just the culmination of all the events. So we do hope that you're with us, not just tonight, no matter where you are in the journey, but we just hope that you're with us throughout the entire process. And many thanks to the Innovation Works team for being such strong partners, and of course our colleagues in the foundation, Dean Richards, Kendra Watkins, who are doing such great work to make sure that this challenge is done so right. So thank you to our leaders for their support. So Joyce mentioned questions. We've talked a lot to you, and now we want to hear from you. We want to make sure that we're asking questions or we're hearing your questions or concerns as we begin to launch the application, which goes live tonight. So I'm going to ask my colleagues, Joyce and Jeff and Kendra, who you heard previously, to stand alongside. We are going to try to take a few questions. Again, I want to make sure you guys get good food, good drinks, and good vibes from this evening. So we'll keep our questions brief where we can. If you do have a question, we just ask that you project a little loudly so we can hear you, and we'll try to repeat that question back. We did gather a few questions to start with just to warm up the audience, and a few folks had asked, and I think we heard this, but I'm going to ask Joyce again, what is the geographic region that someone can apply from in case there was any doubt of what's kind of eligible?
Yes, the region that is applicable, Southwestern Pennsylvania. I can rattle off the counties, but Southwestern Pennsylvania, we really are looking for the company to be based here, that the impact will be felt here. So we just want to make that clear. We want to benefit our region.
And then, I might pull you back, Joyce, because you also asked about, or you shared on the slide about boot camp sessions and topics. Can you just share, I see a lot of finalists and recipients from previous UpPrize cycles here in the audience. Shout out to y'all. Can you share, Joyce, from your perspective, how have past UpPrize participants benefited from those sessions, from the boot camps especially?
Well, it was so great to see folks come to that first boot camp session because we had 6 last year, and not really sure about where their idea was headed, might have needed more support, had lots of questions on how to get started, how to even pitch, or how to formulate their idea. To see them on that final showcase stage and pitch beautifully like could bring a tear to your eye. It was a wonderful thing to see. So I'm really proud to say that folks are gaining insight and gaining momentum by attending the boot camp sessions week after week. What we did a little differently this year is that we did make it more intense. So it's 2 days. So hopefully folks can kind of set aside time, come in, gain all the information, network, and gain mentors perhaps as well, and build relationships to further their application.
Thanks, Joyce. So we talked about boot camp sessions, we talked about geographic eligibility. What other questions from the audience are on the tips of your tongues? I see you. Would you mind standing and projecting?
Yes, so this is my first time here.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. So if you could give us maybe a rundown of what examples of past winners and what types of companies,
Yeah.
to me would help me understand.
Sure. And thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you coming to the UpPrize launch. I think that's a great question for Kendra, our Vice President of the BNY Mellon Foundation of Southwestern Pennsylvania.
And in case anybody didn't hear the question, it was some examples of some of our past finalists and winners, which we've mentioned. Some are here in the room, so hopefully during the networking portion, you can ask them about their experience in the program last year. Last year, our first place winner was Precision Neuroscopics, which is a company that uses EEG technology to get a better reading from people who have either coily or kinky hair to make sure that they're getting an accurate medical diagnosis. We had our second place winner, Meerkat Village, who is here today. Shout out to Crystal, right in front of you. And Crystal has an app, Meerkat Village has an app, which is a way for families, parents, caregivers to be able to bring all of their children or guardians' medical information together in one place. It's not tied to any insurance, so it's a way to be able to keep your data safe, keep it with you no matter where you go. And then our third place winner was an organization called Make It Home Safe. They have an app which you can use if you're on the road and you get pulled over by a police officer to ensure that they are indeed an actual police officer. So those are 3 good examples. You can see on the UpPrize website, upprize.org, some video from the past event and a list of all of the semifinalists, so you can get a little bit more of a sense of some of the other companies who made it to that semifinal round.
Great question, and welcome again. Hope we'll see you throughout the competition. What other questions might we have from the audience about the challenge, eligibility requirements? Sure. Would you mind standing up? Sure. So you're asking, for those who couldn't hear you, opportunities for funding. Is this seed funding? Are there other opportunities afterwards? Kendra, would you like to take that? Or actually, Jeff, why don't you come on up?
So a number of companies that have gone through this program ended up receiving funding from a number of different sources, including Innovation Works in more than a couple examples. So this is an opportunity for a lot of startups to get their first kind of taste of what it's going to be like kind of interacting in the kind of world of startups and venture capital. And I was saying a little bit earlier, one of the benefits of going through the boot camp and some of the programming, even if you don't decide to push beyond that, is that many entrepreneurs, or all entrepreneurs, had to start somewhere. And that meant that they probably didn't know the language that is often spoken. And so this is a wonderful opportunity to become, if not fluent, very confident in your ability to communicate with folks that might be customers, could be a follow-on funder. But the short answer to your question is that they're, through this event, it's been an opportunity to showcase a lot of great ideas. And I would just say, I know that even those that did not win a cash prize were in the room and were approached by folks that were very important supporters of their ventures moving forward.
Just one quick thing. Are you going to say what I'm going to say?
I think so. Just a quick point of clarification on the $300,000 of prizes that are going to be awarded in October. Those are prize amounts. They are not seed funding. It is a one-time. You might have heard Joyce say earlier that if you received funding in previous UpPrize cycles, you're not eligible to apply again because we want to make sure to be as impactful and hit as many organizations as we can throughout our different cycles of UpPrize. So it is a true cash prize. Is that what you're?
It's a grant.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah, truly. I think we have time for maybe one or two questions. Would you mind standing up?
Yes, I have a question. So you discussed the winners, and I guess my question is, how far along do you have the stage of starting?
Yeah. So,
Everybody wants to submit things, like when should you, what stage?
yeah,
You know, like write things up and stuff like.
got it. So what?
How far along do you have to be for it to actually be considered? Because
Yeah.
I guess like if you give us a list of like the 6 figure winners and how far along they were, and who's getting funding companies.
Sure. So
They won, and they were chosen to win. So there's like, you're particularly far along in the
got it. So how far along is the organization at the time of applying? Was that your question? Got it. Who would like to take that one?
the past few years, because obviously we all have ideas and things, we want to submit and things, but how far along, realistically speaking,
Yeah.
the winners of the last 3 or 4 years, how far along were
How far along were they? And I also think that's a great question, one for our panelists, but I'd love it if our finalists who were, I see a few, to also share their feedback maybe in the networking portion as well. But Jeff, you were coming to the mic, so come on in.
So in the past several years, there have been companies that were actually not even companies yet. They were pre-formation when they started the program. Some of those put the kind of legal formality together while they were in the program, and some didn't do that until I think afterwards. So it could be pre-revenue. You don't have to have a customer yet. Some of our past winners have been in that category. We've also had some winners that had generated some revenue, maybe not from the direct application that they were pitching for UpPrize, but was consistent with kind of what products their company was trying to make. So it could be a concept. It doesn't have to be a revenue generating product.
All right, we have time for one more question with the flag glasses that are red. Wouldn't you come up and ask your question?
Hi, my name is Tolani. Basically, I'm a first year MBA student at Can't School of Business, but I'm an international student. So I just want to ask you if this automatically disqualifies me from applying.
Great question, and hail to Pitt. Kendra, would you like to answer a question? Or Joyce? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Joyce.
So the question was, being an international student, would that disqualify you from being an applicant for the competition? From my understanding, that would not disqualify you. What we would be looking at is seeing that your product and your idea, your service, would be located here in Southwestern Pennsylvania, and that you are here right now in Southwestern Pennsylvania. So the idea that your product would be based here is our foremost, goal, because ultimately we want to make change here in this region. If it broadens and expands nationwide, worldwide, we'd love to see that happen. But first and foremost, we're starting off in Southwestern PA.
All right, I saw a few hands go up after we said closing questions. So that's just more incentive to fellowship and connect. Even though this portion of the event is formally concluding, we do want to thank you for your time. You could have been anywhere on a Thursday night, a dreary-ish Thursday night, but you decided to come out here and connect with other community members. So thank you. Give yourselves a hand, truly. Thank you. And thank you to our panelists of Jeff, of Kendra, and Joyce for their contributions. You heard it repeated throughout the night. Please, by all means, apply. July 6th is the deadline. Did I get it right? I got it right? July 6th is the deadline. 11:59. Application launches tonight. Check it out. Go on UpPrize.org, www.upprise.org. That's 2 P's. There also is a QR code displayed on the screens behind me and throughout the room. Check out the social media channels. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. So by all means, engage, connect. If you didn't have your question answered, maybe you were too shy to raise your hand, please, by all means, connect with the leadership from Innovation Works, our colleagues at BNY Mellon, or the foundation as well. We want to make sure that we address your questions. I encourage you to tap into the rich community of leaders and finalists and recipients of previous award UpPrize challenges. And by all means, get excited. We hope to see you throughout, not just this event, but at the semifinalist announcement, also at the final showcase too. It really is a fun time. So with that, the event formally concludes. DJ Nate DeBarber is our one and only DJ for UpPrize. We were so excited to cue the music. Thank you guys for coming out. Enjoy a night of fellowship, and here's to UpPrize.